All right. Okay, I think we're all here except for Delegate Holmes, who hopefully will be joining us. Good afternoon, everyone. This is a meeting of the Non-Energy Utilities Subcommittee of the Environment and Transportation Committee. Welcome everyone to our first meeting. So today I would like to take up House Bill 220. But before I do that, if I could, just a few ground rules since this is our first meeting. For those people who are on the committee, Safar, could you please mute yourself? Thank you. For those who are members of the committee, you need to have your camera on for voting, and I do hope that we get to the point where we can take a vote today. We will, please, when you want to speak, use the raise hand function if you can. You can also just raise your hand, but if I don't see you, flag it for me so that I can call on you. For the advocates, you are here just for informational purposes, and you are only permitted to speak if a question is directed to you. When a delegate asks a question, I will direct it to you if we feel that we need your response. With that, let me introduce Steve Ross, who was on here.
Hi.
Oh, okay, he's here. Steve Ross is also joining us. He is the staff, one of two staff assigned to this committee. The other is Kristen Flynn. Welcome, Steve and Kristen. And for those of you on E&T, you know that this staff does yeoman's work, and they're going to have no shortage of work with respect to this committee. So with all that said, let's go. House Bill 220. Let me explain what the bill does. The bill authorizes the installation of individual sub-meters for certain apartment houses and dwelling units. And what this bill does is it prohibits the owner or the operator of the apartment building or the landlord from imposing certain costs on the individual units because they're being split up. And it also has some other requirements with respect to the operation of that arrangement. The most important thing is it prohibits any unpaid water fees or water bills from being established as unpaid rent, so as to prohibit an eviction process from starting. This bill there's a lot of writing in this bill, but it really isn't any more complicated than I just described. This would completely, if this bill were to pass, it would completely mirror the same arrangement for electric utilities and gas utilities too, right, Steve?
Yes, that's right. It's electric and gas is the same. It's sub-metering.
Yeah, sub-metering, it's the same. We didn't have it for water. So this would allow it to be for water, and the bill directly parallels, it's the same as the bill we have for electric and gas utilities. So with that said, are there any questions about the general thrust of the bill, what the bill does? Any questions? Okay, good. Thank you. So let's move to the amendments. So we have two sets of amendments in front of us. One of them, let's deal with the one, oh, I'm sorry, Delegate Baker, did you have a question? Unmute yourself, sir. You're muted. There you go.
Okay, so, yeah, so this only authorizes, it's not mandating anything.
Correct. And again, it parallels the the law as it relates to electric utilities. So many landlords are already doing this with respect to electric utilities. This just allows them to do it with respect to water.
So if it's an apartment building or anything, multiple units, and a landlord just charges a flat rent, then they have nothing to worry about.
That's correct. Isn't that right, Steve?
Yes, that's handled under a separate type of billing. That's not what this does. A sub-meter is specific to the individual unit. So it's basically a technology that's in other utilities right now, and it's started to be implemented for water. So that's what this is covering, not what you're describing there, sir.
All right, sir. Thank you.
Sure. Any other questions about the bill in general and what it tries to do? Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, so moving on to the amendments. We have two sets of amendments. The first set, I'm going to take 103-626 first. And this is an amendment that was brought up or is being brought up in the Senate. So what this amendment would do would conform this bill, which is a cross file, to the bill that's being considered in the Senate. And Steve, have these amendments been adopted yet in the Senate, or they're just being proposed?
They're not adopted yet. The most recent action on the bill that I see does not include that.
Right.
So they haven't been formally adopted.
But has the bill gone to the full committee yet?
The
No.
hearing, yes, there's already been a hearing on the bill, but I don't think they have voted on it. The hearing was the 3rd of February, but there's no vote listed.
Okay. So we anticipate that these amendments will be in there, and they're actually pretty good amendments. So basically what this amendment does is it adds a mobile home park to the types of dwellings that can use this technology. It also clarifies some things with respect to the Board of Public Works or a local authority. And then basically that's what it does. And then it adds at the end for enforcement or the way the bill can be implemented. It includes, it adds, in addition to going the Consumer Protection Division, it also adds a private cause of action, so you could also sue if your rights were violated under this bill. Do I have it about right, Steve?
Yes, I think you have the basics. For the most part, what this amendment is doing is it's adding mobile home park to the list of sort of multi-dwelling places, multi-family dwelling units that this applies to. That's mostly what the amendment does. And then the private cause of action at the end.
Yeah. So are there any questions about this amendment? Delegate Long.
Thank you. Could you elaborate on the private cause of action one more time? I'm sorry. I just.
Okay. Steve, can you speak to that?
Sure. So in general, the bill establishes, like, if you have a complaint as a tenant, like how you can go, how that can be resolved. And there's like a series of steps on the reprint you have that is on page, I'm getting to it. Page 4, bottom of page 4 and into page 5, a complaint filed under this subsection may be handled by, and then there's like a series of steps. Landlord-tenant commission, if one exists. Consumer Protection Agency, if one exists in the local government. And then it goes to Office of Attorney General, Consumer Protection Division. And then what the amendment does is it adds yet another one if you would like a private cause of action. This will be handled in the district court, typically the district court in the county. So that's where that would go, but it's just another potential option in the list of options that is already there in the bill.
That's perfect. I was making sure. I've heard private right of action. I've heard different terms used differently, so I want to make sure I was on the same page. So thank you.
Delegate Healy. Delegate Healy, you're muted. Please unmute yourself.
There we go.
There you go.
Thank you. I just wondered if there was any testimony or any input from anybody about any kind of liability going the other way to protect the landlords if the person doesn't pay the water bill and the water bill still goes to the landlord. Or does it not? I mean, does the bill say that only the tenant is responsible for paying the water bill? Because in the past, that was one of the issues that we had with the water bill was always sent to the owner of the property, and they were the ones that were ultimately liable for paying it and any fees that were not paid by anybody else.
Yes. Steve, could you respond to that?
I am looking to see how the bill is currently structured for that. My general understanding with this is the total bill is between the owner of the main meter and the water provider, and the sub-metering is occurring. That is a service provided between the owner and someone else. So it's like the relationship with the utility is between the owner and the utility. So like it's still on the owner. It should still be on the owner to pay the bill. The sub-metering is occurring sort of behind the meter for purposes of what counts as the utilities, what the utility cares about. I'm looking to see if the bill has anything more specific about how it's structured. I have to take a look.
Okay, just if you could just check and see what happens if the tenant does not pay the water bill, what happens? Who's on the hook? Thank you.
Okay, I will look.
Okay, while he's looking at that, are there any other questions about this amendment? This amendment, I think we could probably pass while we're researching Delegate Healy's question.
I'll make the motion.
I'm sorry, Delegate Long?
I was moving the amendment.
Okay, Delegate Long moved the amendment. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Delegate Allen.
second.
Any further discussion on the amendment? All those in favor of the amendment signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed?
No.
No? Okay, one no. Aye, I said aye. One no and 6 yes. All right. Okay, the amendment passes. Delegate Long, did you have another question before we move on?
Yes, point of clarification. I saw Delegate Baker raise his hand. I don't know if he was in the affirmative or
Well, I
the
think he said was in the affirmative. Is that correct, Delegate Baker?
It
Delegate
wasn't-
Baker.
I'm really not prepared to vote, so I would just like to not vote.
Okay, so Delegate Baker is
Yeah,
abstaining.
and the reason being is I have another question on the bill.
Okay, well, let's move through the amendments and then we can
Okay.
talk about the bill if that's okay with you.
Yep, thank you.
Okay. And let me just, so let me move to the second set of amendments, which I will explain. And we do have some advocates on the call from IUPA to help us with this. These amendments are sponsor amendments, also submitted by the sponsor. And what these amendments do is change the term unit meters to sub-meters. And that's a lot of what's in here. And then there are a couple of other insertions here that basically were proposed by IOBA, the building folks. And my understanding is that the sponsor and IOBA are in agreement on these amendments. So I'm going to ask Hugo Cantu from IOBA if he would like to just comment on the amendments. And is there anything that we should know about this?
Hi, everyone. Hugo Cantu with AOBA. No, I think as long as we, working with the sponsor, we're happy with, the amendments to alternate some of the billing methods, removing the cap, and, if there's the removal of the leak detector. But I mean, the big thing is the cap. The way that it works is that the property owners, and we talked to some of our members, and not all of our members were paying the same price when it went to sub-metering. And so the $1 cap, I think, is just far too restrictive, and
Okay,
especially since so many.
Mr. Cantu,
Sorry.
the $1 cap is not in the amendment.
Okay, so yeah, I mean that's what what we're looking for is that removal of the $1 cap on the admin fee. So I don't know.
But these other amendments were put in to satisfy some of the issues that you raised. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so could you please speak to those and not the $1 cap at this time?
Yeah, I mean, I think just to reiterate, some of our buildings are much older, and I'm kind of here speaking on behalf of Brian Anlou, who's stuck in judiciary because I think the hearings are running a little longer. So I think if the sponsor is putting these in and we are happy with it and the subcommittee's happy with it, I think we'll be fine.
Yeah, so they go along the lines of, the sub-metering and the leak detection and some other administrative things. So before we go to the $1 cap, which Mr. Cantu raised, I'm going to ask, I see your hand, Delegate Grammer. Steve, were you able to answer Delegate Healy's question?
What I can tell you is from in the bill is silent on the ultimate responsibility there. The bill doesn't say that the sub-metered person, the tenant, is responsible ultimately. They're responsible for paying their sub-metered portion to the landlord, but the my understanding is that that's how the sub-metering works, is the landlord is the owner of the meter. So they're the one that owes the utility. That's what I have for you right now.
Right. And again, let me stress that this is enabling. So a landlord does not have to do this. This just covers if a landlord decides to go to sub-metering, and you can see why they might want to do that, right? If they go to sub-metering, then this would be the law that would cover that arrangement. Okay?
Yes.
Does that help, Delegate Healy?
It helps a lot. Thank you
Okay.
very much. I
Sure.
appreciate it.
Sure. Okay, on the amendments, to address. Okay, Delegate Grammer had his hand up originally, and then I see Delegate Long, you had your hand up. So Delegate Grammer.
Thank you. I just wanted to get clarity on what the amendment actually did. I didn't catch that.
Okay. Steve, could you go through that again, please?
Sure, we're talking
we can go
about
through
this
line by line. Would that help if we went through line by line?
You can explain it broadly. I think it's fine.
Okay. Go ahead,
Okay.
Steve.
I'm gonna scroll on mine and kind of go as I see them. Okay, so number one, what we're doing is we changed it from individual unit meters to sub meters. So there's a bunch of changes that look like that. That is mostly just reflecting what we meant to say. Basically, that's the term that they use. Scrolling down further, I'm on page 3, lines 28 or so, 28, yes, 28, clarifying common area charges, like sort of like a cost allocation for things that aren't residential. That amendment here cleans up a little part of that. So if it's a non-residential part of the unit, then you can't be charged. They can't allocate it to your residential sub-meter. I think that was brought up in the context of sort of mixed use. There was mixed use brought up at the hearing, so I could see that being as a response to that. Scrolling down further, we have, let's see. So there was original language about leak detection monitors and inspections of leak detection monitors, and testimony at the hearing was basically, and written testimony too, is that leak detection monitors are sometimes faulty. Their best place to install them is not always with the meter. Sometimes there's a better place to install them. And I think it was a cost issue too. So that was struck as a requirement, a leak detection monitor. That was struck. But in that same area that we replaced it, again, this is on page 4 of the reprint, about halfway down. This is a way to get at what if the sub-meter breaks? What if the sub-meter is currently not working? How do you still get billed? And there's a couple different ways that you can be billed based on your historic usage or estimated usage for a couple months. But if your meter's still broke, your sub-meter is still broken after, I think, 2 months, 2 billing cycles, then you can't be billed anymore. Like, that's the basic process. It's like, all right, we'll bill you based on what you kind of did or we think you did. But if it's still broken, we're not, you can no longer be billed until it's fixed. So that's what that's doing on page 4. A little bit further down, let's see. A little bit of clarity about additional record keeping in the event the occupant basically just record keeping requirements in general to verify that their bill, so the tenant can verify their bill. It's just a little bit of clarity on record keeping. Scrolling further, we're on page 5. Okay, I think we have some belts and suspenders here on page 5 about nothing in the subsection shall be construed as preventing any state agency from exercising its authority regarding the collection of obligations arising from consumer transactions. I think that is put in to avoid issues with any kind of collections. I think that is just the sponsor didn't want anything in here to somehow affect existing processes that otherwise can occur. We had the amendment here for real property, 8205.3, that was brought in as a new section. This provides, this provides some requirements for a lease in the event that you do use submetering. So it should go in the real property article. You sort of requirements for the lease. And then additionally, I think the important part here is subsection C is if you don't comply with what the amendments up top are about submetering. If you don't comply with that, then the landlord cannot require a tenant to pay a third party for water and sewer services. So if you don't meet all these submetering requirements that are being put in by the bill, then the lease cannot require a third party payment. So that's the extent of the amendments. Most of them are adding a little bit of clarity and addressing issues that were brought up at the hearing.
Delegate Grammer, does that answer? I hope that answers your questions. Okay. Delegate Allen.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yeah, Steve, in the interest of addressing things that are brought up in committee or clarifying things, do we know, are there any, I think we might have some more amendments coming, or I don't know if that's all. But I know there was some confusion or concern on the part of the realtors about this bill, that they read it as somehow this authorizes people to install meters on property that they don't own. Is that addressed, or do we think that's a non-issue?
So I will say is I have reached out to the Department of Housing and Community Development about this to flag it as a question. I can tell you that the language mirrors what is in for electric and gas submeters. It's very similar. So if it was, I believe that this was originally sort of modeled off of that statute, and that is in there. So it is mirroring that. The provision you're specifically talking about is, I think, about halfway in the bill.
Yeah.
But that is, yes, page 3.
So if that's not an issue for electric and gas, we don't anticipate it'll be an issue for water?
I have not heard that it is an issue, but I also have not heard back entirely. So all I can tell you is that it's been part of the law for electric and gas since, for however long that has been in place, and it has been in place for quite some time. I don't have the exact time it was changed, but it's been in place for a while. It hasn't been a recent thing.
No, it's not an issue on the electric and gas. So we don't anticipate that it'll be an issue here. Is that correct, Steve?
Okay.
The last time that law was changed was 2006. So it has been 20 years.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm very satisfied now. Thank you, Steve.
Any other questions about these amendments? Okay. So I will entertain a motion to adopt the amendments.
So moved.
Moved by
Second.
Long, seconded by Delegate Healy. Any further discussion? All those in favor of the amendments signify by saying aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
3 noes. Delegate Long, are you a no?
I'm frozen. No.
Oh, you're yeah,
but
okay. Because I was
yeah.
like, you moved the bill, dude. Okay.
Bad interconnection. I am in the
All right,
affirmative.
that's all right. That's all right. But you are a yes on the bill. Is that correct, Delegate Long?
On the amendment.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. On the amendments, I'm sorry. On the amendments, I'm sorry. Okay, so
the
it's
amendments, yes.
5 yes and 2 no. Okay, I believe that's all the amendments we have. So now we're on the bill as amended.
Madam Chair.
Delegate Grammer.
Yes, I wanted to take a moment, if we could, to explore amending
I'm doing it
the
now. Kramer's talking
$1.
about the
Excuse
amendment
me,
hold on.
fee
Mr.
right now.
Cantu, could you mute yourself, please? Thank you. Go ahead, Delegate Grammer. I'm sorry.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Wanted to make a motion to change the $1 to a rate that would allow for just a basic cost recovery. I think that was the concern of AOBA, that they had some older facilities, which frankly, they wouldn't be able to recover cost. I don't think it should be exorbitant, but I do believe if they're going to pay for these, they should be able to have a rate that would recover costs. So I'd like to make that motion.
Okay, is there a second? Seconded by Delegate Baker. Okay, so let's talk about. We should have had the discussion. No, I guess a second is in order. I forget how we run these meetings versus how I used to run meetings. So, but anyway, all right. So let's discuss that. Let me just say this: that we looked into this issue, and I know IOBA would like to have more than $1 as a cap. But I will say that if we are passing a bill that mirrors the electrical utility and the gas utility, that it is in statute that the cap on that is $1 for administrative fees. Is that not right, Steve?
That is right. It's $1.
It's $1 in statute for the electric and gas utilities. Is there further discussion on the amendment proposed by Delegate Grammer?
Can we ask Mr. Cantu to comment briefly?
Sure. Mr. Cantu, would you like to comment?
Yeah, I think the main point here is so many of our buildings are already just trying to recover cost, and I think it is less of getting more than $1 and simply just getting back to like neutral. I think for many of these properties, it's not so much trying to go above and make any money off of this. It's simply just getting back to neutral. If we're going to go into the submetering path. And I hope that clears it up for the members. This isn't to get our members to make a buck. This is just to get them back to neutral at recovering costs.
Mr. Cantu, though, isn't it so that on the electrical meters, it is capped at $1?
It probably is. I think the point I just want to keep hounding on is so many of our properties are older, and I think Chairwoman, there was mention of we represent developers. We actually represent very, very old buildings. We represent communities like Southern Management that have been in Prince George's County since the 60s, when nobody was coming into the county to manage or build. And so these are managers of buildings that have held assets in these counties, in these communities for a very, very long time. So with that, with other regulations that have come through the legislature, through the council, all we're asking for is to recover the cost of any water submeteering. Just that's it. It's not to make anything more than that.
Okay, thank you. I would like to make a comment on that before I move to you, Delegate Healy, which is that I understand what Mr. Cantu is saying, but I also want to emphasize again that this is enabling legislation, and that no landlord has to do this. Delegate Healy.
That was my exact question, so thank you.
You're welcome. Delegate Grammer.
Yeah, so I just wanted to clarify the question the question I asked at the bill hearing was, it says may, but there is shall language in the bill, which I did ask of the witnesses, and they do read it as a shall, and they can clarify on that. But if implemented, if they end up doing this, it's a shall for them.
Actually, Delegate Grammer, I'm going to ask Mr. Ross Steve to comment on that. We don't have to call him Mr. Ross. We can call him Steve. I'm going to ask Steve
That's
to
still my
comment on
father.
that, but I'm going to comment on it first, which is, you are correct, Delegate Grammer, that there are some shalls in the bill, but that's only if a landlord opts for this submetering. They do not, as I responded to Delegate Baker earlier, they do not have to opt for this. They can have, just a, water bill that they pay for the whole, community, and then apportion it, by unit or whatever, however they want to do it. But if they do sub-metering, then there are some shalls in this bill. That's correct. If they opt for sub-metering. Steve, did you want to add anything to that?
I think that's basically right. I would describe this as you get authorizing subject to these requirements.
Right.
I think that's accurate.
So if you're a landlord or a developer and you do opt for this, then there are requirements, but you don't have to opt for it. It is enabling legislation. Are there any other Delegate Grammer?
Yeah, very briefly, they already could do it. They already could opt for it. So we might read it as a may, but they already may. And if we pass the bill, practically it's a shall.
Well, again, I'm going to push back. It is only a shall as it relates to, you're correct, but it's only a shall as it relates to, if you opt to do this, this is how you shall implement it. So that part's correct, but you still don't have to opt to do it. That's my point. Are there any other questions? Okay, we have an amendment from Delegate Grammer to go to actual costs. And we have that seconded. Are we ready to take a vote on the amendment, or do we have more questions? Okay, would someone move well, you did move the amendment. Okay, so all in favor of the amendment by Delegate Grammer, please signify by saying aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
Okay, anybody else? Okay, 2 votes. Any opposed? No.
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 2, 3, 4 no's. And Delegate Allen, are you a no?
I'm a no.
Okay,
Ma-
all right.
Madam
Your video's behind for some reason. So, okay, so 5 no's.
I
and
know
2
my reception
yeses.
is atrocious.
That's all right. 5 no's and 2 yeses. The amendment fails. Okay, now we're back on the main bill as amended. Is there a motion to adopt the bill?
Move the bill as amended, Madam Chair.
Second.
Moved and seconded, moved by Delegate Holmes, seconded by Delegate Allen. All those in favor of the bill as amended, please signify by saying aye or raise your
Aye.
hand.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
Okay, I count 5 yes, 2 no. Is that correct? All right, the bill passes for favorable recommendation to the committee. All right, thank you, everybody. That was quite good. I'm proud of us. I've never done this before, so I'm really happy that we got through the meeting. So we do have other bills that we're going to be considering. Stay tuned for more announcements. We're waiting on some amendments on some bills. I will continue to keep you updated on the text chain in terms of what bills we're going to be looking at. We have at least 2 other bills, maybe 3, that are going to be coming before us. Before I go, I saw Delegate Long raised his hand, but I don't know if that was a delayed raise. It looks like it was a delayed raise. Okay, let me just say, tomorrow we do have this important briefing at 2 p.m. on the Potomac Intercept, the Potomac Sewer Intercept. We are going to have quite a lineup. I don't have it in front of me, but it includes MDE, Riverkeeper, and DC Water, who is responsible for the break. Okay, that's their facility. So they are actually going to be on. And the CEO of DC Water might even jump on for a minute or 2. So, and then we're also looking to maybe get somebody from the Department of Health. I would like to say that we invited the EPA and they declined. Delegate Healy, did you have a question? Yes.
Yeah, I just wondered if, for the benefit of those of us who are not familiar with exactly where this is, if there's an address or a way we can look it up on a map so that we can kind of get an idea of where it is.
Okay, I can tell you verbally, but we can, maybe my chief of staff, Dan, can dig up a map where we can pinpoint where it is. But just to describe briefly, it is very close to the Washington Beltway. So it is,
So it's near the bridge. It's near the bridge that
it's
goes
not
over.
near the, I don't think it's near the bridge. It's before the bridge. So it's in the neighborhood called Cabin John, which is right before the bridge on the Maryland side.
Okay.
The American Legion Bridge we're talking about, not the Key Bridge. It's right before the bridge on the Maryland side. It's in a neighborhood called Cabin John. It's in the sort of the western part of Bethesda.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, but we'll see if we can, excuse me, get a map from somewhere, and we'll send it around so you all can see where it is.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions before we adjourn? Okay, great.
No.
Well, thank you. I will accept a motion to adjourn. Delegate Healy, are you moving to adjourn?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Any objections? No, we are adjourned.